Assalamu alaikum, dear students. This is for class 11th. Important question frequently asked: momentum and Newton's second law of motion. First of all, we will try to define momentum and how we can define second law of motion. And we have to derive the important relation also. F is equal to ma. Suppose if since we are discussing laws of motion, if we look again towards the motion, if suppose I can give you an example. Suppose this is a wall here, wall. If a bullet at rest is thrown towards the wall, it will not penetrate through the wall. Of course, if a bullet from the gun is thrown towards the wall, it will penetrate through the wall and will pass through the it. That means the motion of a body depends upon here its velocity, because I have taken the same bullet, I am throwing it towards the wall, it is not penetrating through the wall, and with the gun it is penetrating through the wall. That means the body which is having a velocity, that means the body which is having has more motion. Moreover, if we take the two things, one is the small thing and one is the heavier thing. Suppose if I take a small stone, I am throwing it towards the wall, it is having a motion. If I take a suppose a big one which is having a heavier body, which is throwing towards the wall, but I am not able to throw it towards the wall. That means the motion of body depends. This Newton has related the motion of body. That means it depends upon the two things. These two things are basically mass and velocity. Mass and velocity. That means motion of any thing depends upon two things. That is called mass and velocity. That means he related the mass and velocity of a body. The relation between when he related the mass of a body, thus this relation is called the that means the motion of a body depends upon mass and velocity. That it is where you have seen the bullet when it is fired from the gun, it will penetrate through the wall. When it is thrown simply through the wall, it will not penetrate, because that means the things which is having greater higher velocity is having higher motion, and mass, it also depends upon the mass. That means if a body is heavier, we cannot produce its motion as much as the body is smaller. Okay, that means he related the motion of a body with mass and velocity. The mass and velocity he related, he named it. It is called momentum, or simply called linear momentum. I hope you have got it. Linear momentum. Momentum. That means linear momentum, if I define it, is the quantity of motion possessed by a body. It is the quantity. That means it is equal to mass and velocity. That means if I define it, that means it is the quantity of motion possessed by a body. I hope you have got it. That means the motion of any substance depends upon mass and velocity. The product of these two, Newton related the motion with mass and velocity. He named this. It is called momentum. That means when we talk the momentum of a body, we are talking in terms of mass and velocity. It is equal to that means linear momentum is equal to mass and velocity. Suppose if a body if a body of mass m is moving with a velocity v, therefore it is linear momentum. It is linear momentum. That means linear momentum is usually represented by p. V is a vector. Why it is a vector? I will tell you. Is given by p is a vector quantity. In mass is a scalar quantity, and multiplied velocity. When we when I have discussed in the vectors, when we multiply with a scalar with a vector quantity, when the scalar is multiplied with a vector, it becomes a vector. That means momentum is also a vector quantity, because velocity is a vector quantity. It is a vector quantity it is a vector quantity and it is SI unit. SI unit. How we are measuring this? It is unit. It is SI unit is how we can measure this. Since we know that when it is the product of mass and velocity, mass is measured in kilograms. You know this. Mass is unit in kilograms, and velocity is measured in meter per second. That means its SI unit is kilogram meter per second. I hope you have got it. It is SI unit is kilogram meter per second. Why it is becomes kilogram meter per second? Because mass is measured in kilograms and velocity is measured in meter per second. Therefore, it is SI unit is kilogram meter per second. In CGS systems, centimeter gram second, it is unit is gram centimeter. It is in CG. It is in SI unit system. We have discussed these system of units already. If you write in CGS system, in CGS system, momentum is measured in gram centimeter per second. I hope you have got it. And sometimes it is asked to calculate the dimensional formula. How can we have already discussed it in chapter 2 regarding the dimensional formula. If I will recapitulate how we can calculate the dimensional formula. Dimensional formula of momentum, yeah, linear momentum is, since momentum is equal to mass into velocity, mass m के बराबर है, velocity is distance by time. If you remember, velocity is equal to distance divided by time. Distance can be written as m, that means m, distance is l divided by t. That means if I write it is in dimensional order, we can write it is dimensional formula is m1 l1 t ऊपर जाएगा t raised power -1. This is the dimensional formula. Okay, I hope you have. That means if sometimes it is simple, okay, that means the Newton has related the motion of any body with mass and velocity. I have already discussed with you how motion can be related with mass and the velocity. That means the product of mass and velocity, he named it, is called momentum, or you can simply say it is a linear momentum. That means the quantity of motion depends upon two things, that it depends upon mass as well as the velocity. Now we are taking a body of mass m is moving with the velocity v. That means it is linear momentum. Mathematically we can write p is equal to mv, m into v. Since this is the product of mass and velocity, velocity is a vector quantity, therefore momentum is also a vector quantity, and it is SI unit is given kilogram meter per second, and in CGS system it is gram centimeter per second. If dimensional formula you have to calculate, dimensional formula of linear momentum is mass into velocity. That mass is equal to distance by time, and ml divided by t. That means m l1 t raised power -1. This is regarding the momentum. How momentum is related? How we can define this? How we can calculate the force is equal to F is equal to ma, and how we can define Newton's second law of motion with the help of momentum. That means how momentum is related with the second law of motion, how momentum is useful to calculate the relation F is equal to ma, how momentum is useful to define the second law of motion. Inshallah, we can do it next class. Hope you have got it. Thank you very much.